ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ಗುರು. ಸಾಕಷ್ಟು ಟೈಮ್
ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ.
ಆಯ್ತು ನೀನ್ ನೋಡಿ.
ಏನ್ ಗುರು ಮರ್ತೋದ್ಯಾ ನನ್ನ?
ಆಲ್ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಮರ್ತೋಯ್ತು. ಇನ್ನೇನು ಇನ್ನೊಂದ್ ವೀಕ್ ಆಯ್ತಾ ಮರ್ತೋಯ್ತು. Dude, it's been too long. How you been?
Doing good, bro. How about you?
Good, good. We've been good. Good week for RCB. Good couple
Yep,
weeks for RCB.
yep, yep,
So
yep.
happy to have you back.
Happy to
And
be back.
before we get started, we have to mention that we've reached 100 subscribers. I wish we brought a cricket bat so we could do the century. So major thank you to everybody that's listened so far. Rahul, you have anything to add to our growing subscriber list?
First of all, thank you. Really appreciate it. I'm glad you guys are, enjoying what we have to say. And shout out to your dad. Shout out to your brother. They've been an incredible, integral part of this, and I truly believe that they're the reason why we went up so quickly. So, glad to be back when things are kind of looking on the rise. But thanks again, guys. Appreciate it. Keep listening. I hope you guys like our analysis.
We are here for match number 59 preview, RCB LSG, doing the match preview a little bit early today because we got a lot to talk about. And as we near the business end of the IPL here, the fever pitch is building. The match last weekend versus Chennai was electric, but we did come out of that with a lot of uncertainties about the roster. So let's get right into it. So, Rahul, anytime you have a playing 12, you do not want to see question marks on the
Yep.
playing 12.
No.
The reason I have so many question marks on here is because one injury we know about for sure, Devdutt. Patidar is questionable. We need some more information. Krunal did not finish the last match. He could have bowled his 4 overs. He didn't. And so I will leave you with this mess, with this very unsettled playing 12. Walk me through, what we do at number 3, and if Patidar and Krunal are out, what happens?
We talk about Patidar and we talk about the game that he's brought in this season. It's all about intent. He's come out there, he's attacked, right? He's not been like, oh my God, Virat and Salt have had, X number of runs in power play and I'm coming in now. Let me just take a couple of overs. He's gone from ball one, which has been great. And so, for him to be replaced, it's going to be tough. Before I get into DDP, I just want to mention Bethel had a great couple of matches. And I like this, it's an old cliche, left, right, is it great? Is it really putting bowlers off their lengths, off their lines? Something there. So would I start off with Virat and Bethel? And I think the answer to that is yes.
Okay.
We know that Mayank has come in for DDP.
Yep.
He's done well in Ranji. He's captained, Bangalore, Karnataka, sorry, and he's done well in that. We did well in our domestic season, no doubt. But I think for me, it would have to be Manoj, who was tried for one of the matches. Honestly, we did not set him up for success. I think it was poor management. But he gets another shot, I think. But he offers that left-handedness that goes along with right, left, right, left, right, left, and that's great. Actually, if Krunal actually does come up, we'll get to that in a second.
Well, actually, let me ask you this question. You said Manoj Bandage comes in for DDP, right? To bat at number 3 or down the order where Krunal is? Because Krunal could be promoted. Let's say he's fit. What would you say?
I think it depends on the situation, quite honestly. I think if we lose Virat and Bethel, I'm guessing, earlier on in the power play, I would probably hold off on Krunal just a little bit until it's closer to the end of power play. Although he did really well with Virat that one game where he really took us home. He dug in, he ran those 2s, he ran those 3s with Virat. He really is a player who can take you from 6 to 16 overs. I'm just not sure how he's going to be with the new ball. So in the first couple of overs, I just don't know if he can come in as a batter. And for that reason, I think I would probably just play him a little bit lower, again, depending on the situation. If Virat and Bethel go through the power play, and then get out, I have no problem bringing in Krunal. And I think that's the beauty of this team is that we can fluctuate a little bit with the batting order, and I think we can still do just fine. The next question mark, I think that's going to be big, not only because of a batter, who's really good with spin, and we know that, LSG's got Bishnoi. He's got the new guy who writes off everybody in his notebook. And so we know that we need somebody who can smash these people. Not only that, but not also his leadership has been magnificent this whole season, I think. And so that leadership as well as batsmanship is what's going to be missing with Patidar, and we really hope he's coming back. The same goes for Krunal. I think we've had a few days off. I hope that means there's enough rest for them to be considered.
Okay. So I think that for Patidar, there's a bigger question mark than Krunal.
Mm-hmm.
Patidar has had finger problems, and there's been some reporting that he's going to miss this match. Unconfirmed, but that he's going to miss this match. So I guess we should have started there, because if our captain's missing, who's going to captain? I assume for one match it's going to be Virat. I don't love that, honestly. I love Virat, but Patidar was making very sound decisions and marshaling the troops well. In place of Patidar, do you agree that we would bring in Mayank?
Yeah, I think that's sort of like for like to some extent. I would agree with that. Yeah.
But Mayank is cold, so do you think Swastik gets a look?
I don't know, quite honestly. Like, I think the way IPL is structured, I think Mayank or any other batter for that matter who did make it, you know, with the auction, they have their kit bag and their suitcases ready. That's how IPL has always worked, because you always have an injury here and there. Like, Brevis coming in for CSK, he didn't look
Fair.
cold.
That's
This
true.
guy, this guy was hitting a rat out of the bat. How? Because he was doing stuff back in South Africa. Because he knew he may get a call. You never know, right? I think
That's
Mayank
true.
is the professional enough to kind of do the same. I think in terms of caliber, Mayank Agarwal takes the cake for me.
I think I would trust Mayank too. He's an established player.
Yeah,
You got to go with experience for experience, because Partidar is also very experienced, and Mayank will bring some of that. Jitesh stays, Romario stays, Tim David stays. If Krunal's out, do you agree that Swapnil comes in?
yeah, I think so.
Even though
Um,
it's a right hand bat,
Yeah, I mean, I think it's more the all-roundedness that I will be looking at. I mean, he's a left-time, bowler, which is similar to what Krunal was offering us anyway. And at that point, I'm not really looking at right and left, because he's going to come after. I mean, if he does play, I think he's going to come after Romario and Tim David anyway. So, I'm not. I'm really hoping I'm not relying on his batting skills as much as his spinning skills. So I'm just hoping that as a bowler, he's going to be impactful, and I think he would be.
so we're pretty much on the same page with all of the potential replacements.
Yeah,
Hazelwood also has the niggle. I didn't put a question mark here because
yeah,
Angidi stepped in, and I don't think they can drop him after bowling really well last match, right?
that is correct. I did mention this earlier today. While we were talking, I said, you know what, it's worth it to give Nuwan a shot, and I'll tell you why. Because you've got a lot of players in LSG who just are choppers. You know what I mean? They're chopping woods. They literally have a high back lift, and they literally chop. That goes for, right from Aiden Markham, who's got a high back lift, Mitch Marsh, obviously Pooran, um, Hunt. They go heavy on these balls. So having a slinger just helps, because you don't know when that Yorker is coming. It's hard to pick that line, that awkward action, and it's harder to bring that bat down as quickly as you would want to. And I just feel that from that perspective, because you got Paran, you've got Hunt, um, you've got Miller. These are, those hard hitters of the ball that's gonna really come in handy. I know Ingudi bowled well, and I know he's, again, bowlers who you want miles under their belt. He's got those miles. Um, I just, we're chopping and changing a little bit. Just try one more because if we get the combination right and some of these injuries linger, then we should know what we're getting into before playoff season starts.
So to summarize, so Virat is in, possibly captaining. We don't know yet. Followed by Bethel. Agreed.
Yes.
Followed by Bandage.
Yes.
Followed by Patidar / Mayank.
Yes.
These three stay the same. Krunal / Swapnil.
Yes.
And maybe Tushara, but more than likely they stick with Ngidi if Hazlewood can't go.
Right.
Okay, so there's our prediction for the RCB playing 12. I hope it's just the DDP injury that has to be addressed and nothing else. We'll find out. Here's the LSG playing 12. This is from the last match, and interesting lineup here where they all foreign players up front and basically a full Indian bowling attack. So what pops out at you here with their roster?
Um, I think, one of the major things is that their bowling, and especially their fast bowling, hasn't really kicked off. I think Avish has been, hot and cold. Prince and Mayank both have been very expensive. So, they're going to try and get a black soil pitch in just so that the spin plays a major role. Also, because they know if they bring in if we get in Hazelwood and our pace attack, they know that pace on this is going to be dangerous because, pace for pace, we're doing much better. So I think they're going to negate the fact that their Indian bowling attack hasn't really been that sound. But that's I think they're going to go with the same 11 here. I like the look of Akash Singh, who came in as an impact. I think he looked pretty decent with his left on pace. Again, more reasons for us to have that left and right combination so that it's not just right-handers going up against left-arm bowlers.
Good point. What pops out to me here beyond what you mentioned about the bowling is it feels like their batting has 3 wickets, man, rather than
Yeah,
10. It
yeah,
looks like, if you go through the top three, they're a 160, 170 team. It doesn't look like anybody below Pooran can play a long, hurtful innings to get the team to a very good score. Badoni has had some nice contributions. David Miller, I think, is way past his prime. And Samad has done well in like the Tim David role, but if you get him in early, I don't think that he has the temperament or the game really to stick it out and play 30, 40, 50 balls and take the team to a high score. So these three batters are the game when we bowl. If we can get them out cheaply, if they're 50 for three, something like that,
yeah.
that could go a long way in winning the match. I don't see many other surprises in their playing 12 when we get to Friday.
Yep, I agree.
Here's our first matchup, and this is part of that top three I was talking about. I personally think he's one of the best batters in recent IPL history, last 5 years. He is terrifying at the crease. And that's Nicholas Pooran. Here are his numbers. Pretty good, 11 matches, 400 plus runs. Not too bad strike rate, not too shabby.
Yeah, yeah, he'll do.
And I hope I'm not putting the mockers on him.
Yeah,
But look at this breakdown. I found
yep,
very interesting.
yep.
What do you have to say about this? How do we keep him quiet and we add to that last 5 innings column and not the first 6 innings?
I'll tell you one thing. It's so often is the case when a team is so heavily reliant on one star batter that mediocrity just does not brew consistency. Okay, so if you are amongst players who are not doing so well, at some point your form is going to start dipping. You must have
Ooh,
like, and I've seen that with professional sport, not just cricket, just any professional sport for that matter. it does weigh in on him in terms of like how valued his wicket is. And I think that itself, knowing where LSG is in terms of their table, knowing that there's tensions, knowing that, pressure is on them, right? That's all we need to play into it. I don't think we need to do anything different or drastic. I think, don't bowl in his arc, don't give him room, tuck him up. I think that's, Hazelwood with his test match length and line, that's perfect. Right? Just tuck him up, don't give him any room, let him manufacture the shots, and he's good at it. He's going to get a few away, and that's okay. But that's honestly the mindset you'd have to go in. Where you don't you sit down and you're like, how are we going to get this guy out? Are we going to bowl like, short? Are we going to get all of these players like out on the leg because he knows he pulls and he slop sweeps very well? But again, like, pressure's on them. I think that would just play into it rather than let them feel that we're scared, sort of, oh my God, like, well, we're going to watch out for this guy. That's basically how I would approach it.
Keep it simple. Keep it
Exactly.
simple, normal, basic line length. Don't bowl full, and try to have the domino effect hurt him.
Yep.
Um, I honestly like that because even if I were to try to think of a theory of like where to bowl to him, it's
Yeah.
like he has all the shots all across the ground. He has the paddle. He has the reverse sweep. So I like your theory a lot more than trying to manufacture a way to get him out. For our second matchup, we have an initially controversial player. I will concede. When he first did his notebook celebration, I was like, "Who is this guy? Who does he think he is? This is ridiculous." And he got fined for it. But you know what? Then I realized he's actually really good. And I like that he stuck to his celebration despite getting fined, and he found creative ways to do it into the ground and all that. And we need that pizzazz. I think that masala adds to the IPL. So let's talk briefly here about Digvesh Rathi, debut IPL season. 11 matches, 12 wickets. That's good for top 10 in the IPL, eighth. Anytime your economy is around eight, you're doing a really good job. Good strike rate, a lot of dot balls, and I find that very interesting. A lot of dot balls for a spinner, where they
Yeah.
usually spread the field and it's easy to milk ones, but he's still up there in dot balls. So, talk a little bit about what you've seen from him and how we may be able to tackle him despite possibly Patidar missing the match.
Yeah.
Um, Floor is yours.
Yeah, no, the one thing that struck me about him is that he's an attacking spinner. So he's not a defender, he's not a defensive bowler. So he looks for those wickets. He makes the batsman. He's got nothing to lose, everything to gain. Kind of, did a little thing to get, cameras on him and he's, kept up with it, which is the harder thing to do, right? You got a target on your back. You better back it up with like a few matches where you do well, and he has done well. I agree with that. He's going to be tough to kind of get away.
I think that he's probably their best bowler this season. So if you look at the rest of their bowling unit, which we talked about briefly, there's not a lot of other threatening bowlers that we're fearful of. There's no Mitchell Stark or Kuldeep Yadav to pair with him. So I would say I would be happy just to take his four overs, none for 32, and score off the other people. I think we could easily still get to close to 200 by doing that. He hasn't taken wickets in bulk this season. He's averaging a wicket a match, but his economy plus consistency with wicket taking is what makes him dangerous. So, especially if Patidar doesn't play, I would be happy to just concede eight and over for him, because I really think that he's hard to read. I think we don't know which way the ball's turning. He bowls a lot of carom balls. He can turn it both ways. His length is impeccable. He never bowls in the arc of the batsman. You got to play square of the wicket on leg side and offside, or even behind the wicket to try to get boundaries off him, and that can be really tough in a big ground like Lucknow. So I'm very wary of him, and I hope that we don't give him opportunities to impact the match more.
Agreed.
And last, we get to our third matchup, which honestly, it gives neither of us pleasure to talk about this. We love this guy. Rishabh Pant is one of our favorite players, especially in the Reds, in the red ball format. He might be captain with Rohit Sharma's retirement announcement today, or vice captain at least. He is very spirited, longtime Indian cricketer. Love to watch him play, bat, interviews, but this has not been his IPL. These numbers are a disaster. He is not even striking at 100. He would be averaging single digits if not for one innings. So if you take away his high score of 63, he's played 10 other matches, 65 total runs in those matches, averaging 6.5 for a top order batsman. It's it's like unconscionably bad. What has happened to Rishabh Pant this IPL?
That's a great question. And I don't even know if he truly has the answer to that. And I talked about this before too. He just doesn't look like he's enjoying his game anymore. He looks stressed. And in the past, you look at his record in Delhi, right? It's not like he took them to the playoffs regularly. It's not like, they won the title. It's not that they did amazingly well. A lot of the times they were still like dwelling in the bottom of the table. But Rishabh Pant didn't look different. He still had the smile. He still was cheeky with the interviews. He was still joking around with the players. Just don't see that. I just
Yeah,
don't see that anymore. And the fact that he's not enjoying his cricket reflects how bad he's doing. And I don't know if it's the management. I don't know if it's just, he's just within his head. Everyone talks about the price tag. Come on, okay, yes, it's a lot of money, but it's not the first time he's seen money of this nature. I mean, he's got
yeah,
sponsorships left, side, and center. IPL is just 6 weeks, okay? You've seen the kind of watches that he's wearing, bro. One of them is worth 5 crores, so lay off of him. Okay, it's not the first time he's seeing money. So a lot of people talk about that. I don't think it's the bank. I think it's a lot to do with just the mental strain of the franchise.
yeah,
And it's not just this year, it's always been that way, right? Justin
yeah,
Langer was very difficult to deal with by Australians. Australians are by far the most harshest, you know, critics of their own sport. And they were like, dude, we can't handle Justin Langer.
yeah,
Okay. And you've got that Goenka guy and Justin Langer sitting in the dugout. Holy crap. Right. Right.
yeah.
You're sweating every single time. I just feel bad.
He does look burdened by something or many things. The price tag, I do hear your point that it's for him, it's not like something new. For somebody like Venkatesh Iyer, I actually do think it's the price tag because that's new for him. But Rishabh Pant has played for India, central contract endorsement, so maybe not so much the price tag. Although I don't think it helps when you start failing because the trolling gets amplified when your price tag is so high. It's got to be the owner, bro. It's not.
Yeah.
He's not the only one that has been burdened and looked miserable in that jersey. We
Yeah.
saw it with KL Rahul in epic proportion last year, where there was like an openly uh just what do the kids call it these days? Crashing out argument that they had
Yeah.
on the field after a match, and I think that ownership is trying to change his image. And Sanjay Goenka is trying to, put out social media clips, so supportive. But overall, I think he's pretty hands on and overbearing to his players and captain. And on top of that, if you take ownership out of it, I don't think Rishabh Pant is seeing eye to eye with the management. I think that he's disagreeing openly with Zaire Khan, disagreeing openly with his bowlers, and nothing is going right for him, and that's seeping into his batting. So there's many reasons why these numbers could be like this. Honestly, because we're playing them on Friday, I hope it continues because it'll help RCB. But after that, I hope he finds his form because we're going to need him in the England Test Series and beyond. And he's just an easy guy to root for. And that brings us to our last segment. Prediction time, Rahul, Chandra, Friday, match number 59 IPL. Who wins?
RCB.
If we
RCB.
bat first and if we bat second, give me how you think the scenarios will play out.
I think we're going to score between 180 to 190 if we bat first. And we're going to chase a score of 170 in about 18 overs. I think on paper we look good. I think mentally we're stronger. We should have this in the wraps.
Okay. I have predicted every match except one correctly this year since we started the podcast, which means I'm definitely getting this one wrong because I said that. But I'm laying that foundation because I've picked RCB a lot. We've won a lot of matches since we started the podcast. This one, I'm actually legit worried about. There's many reasons for that. One is that Chennai match is always a big deal. We've detailed it in the last two podcasts. And when you win like a last ball match and you get out of jail like that and the euphoria that comes off from that, you then hit like the sugar high and then you crash. So I think we are due for a letdown match. I mean, we're only human. There's a lot of attrition building up in the camp. There's a lot of players carrying niggles, injuries, and we're going to be playing away from home. There's travel, and we're playing a desperate LSG team where if they have any hopes of making the playoffs, this is a crucial match for them to sneak into that number 4 spot. So this is going to be an extremely tough match. I think we're going to lose. I think that RCB is going to be asked to bat first, and we're going to have one of those, like, it's not going to be for lack of intent, but it's just not going to go our way in terms of striking the ball in a big ground batting first without some of our key batters. I think Patidar is going to miss the match. DDP is going to miss the match. I think it's a lot to ask Jacob Bethel, even though he is the star boy, to just play like he did last match, you know? So, and I think it's a lot to keep asking Virat to score 50 every match. I mean, that guy's human also. So I think we're going to score 160, 170 batting first, and we'll make a fist of it. They might take it to the 18th over, 19th over, but I think they're going to chase it down where the top 3 effect of their batting that they have, even if we get them 50 for 3 with a low middling total, it's not going to be enough to just have them collapse. Like if you know you're chasing 160, Badoni, David Miller, they can buy their time and accumulate rather than having to hit. So I'm really, really, really nervous about this match. Even if we chase like say 180, if Kohli goes early, you're left with Bethel and a Bandage at number 3, perhaps. Maybe Cold Mayank after that. I could easily see us be 40 for 3 in a steep chase and fold after that. So this match, I'm predicting a loss, unfortunately. I do still think we can finish top 2 despite that. So we really need Delhi to win tomorrow to make that happen. But there you have it. I really hope I'm wrong.
I hope so too.
Really hope I'm wrong. Bro, really enjoyed having you back on the show.
Happy to be back.
And we will see you guys in about, 2 days? 3 days.
Yep.
We'll see you on Saturday probably for the post-match. Let's see what we can muster up. Let's see what the injury status is. Let's get these updates, and let's hope we can keep this ship rolling. Namaskara, Guru.
Namaskara. See you.